Hey everyone, welcome back to AFTV. We have a We Come in Peace video today to discuss the top 5 players in the Premier League this season. And before the cameras were even rolling, there's a little bit of back and forth, a little bit of talking. But we are here to come in peace. We're here to have a proper conversation, as you've reassured me, Flex. This is football people talking calm football. Okay.
No trolling, just talk football and let's be honest with ourselves. And that's why we got this panel.
We'll see. Let's introduce the panel. To my left, take it away.
I come in pieces, Matisse, Chelsea fan.
Yes, Lewis, I come in peace.
Doyle, I come in temporary peace. Here we are.
Temporary peace.
I'll come in peace as an Arsenal fan as well. Lead judges.
I come in peace. It's the international break. It's time for us to all be calm, Flex.
There we go. And you all know, but Flex United fan, Lewis City fan, Doyle, Liverpool fan. Okay, so we've put it out there. The top 5 Premier League players, and we've all written it down. Some people's handwriting neater than others. Let's unveil.
Everything's directed at you so far, isn't it?
Well, it's hard to have peace after some of the forever Arsenal grief, but we'll leave that aside. Let's talk. Go on, I'll let you take it away, Lee. Who's your top 5? Unveil to the camera, look to the camera,
Top
show
5.
everyone in order.
Look, listen, I've got a bad finger. That's why I can't write properly. Okay.
Okay.
All right, there we go. So
Bash.
I've gone Haaland 1, Saka 2, Partey 3,
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, the rest. Yeah.
Odegaard 4, and Rashford 5.
Okay. Flex.
I have gone Haaland at the top, Saka, Rashford, Odegaard, Casemiro.
Casemiro makes it. Matisse.
I have gone Haaland at the top, Saka, then Rashford, then Odegaard, and then Kane.
Kane's made it.
Interesting.
Lewis. You always forget about him.
I feel a cooking coming on here. I feel a big cooking coming
What
on.
on earth is he doing on there?
Listen. So I've gone for Haaland at 1, Saka at 2, Odegaard 3, Ake 4. I've gone Alisson at 5.
Good shout, that one, lads.
Yeah.
Good shout. Good shout.
Interesting to see if you got
Best,
Alisson.
our best player all season.
Go on,
Unfortunately, Flex, I do not have Alisson. So I went for, I don't even have to read this, Haaland first, because obviously 42 goals in that. Saka, fantastic. Third, I went for Rashford, turning form after the World Cup. 4 is a shout that no one else has done, because they've all got top 6 bias, yeah. Paulina has been fantastic. He's the best tackler in the league. He's got 101 tackles, and the closest person to him has got 84. So he's already miles above in that department. And also, Liverpool are looking for a midfielder, so 4 lad, yeah. And then number 5, I've went for Odegaard, because what a footballer. What a footballer.
Brought stats as well. Perfect.
Yeah,
okay. So should we agree on the ones that seem to be on everyone's list? Erling Haaland, Bukayo Saka. How many had Odegaard? 1, 2. I think you all had Odegaard.
Yeah.
So looks like Odegaard is in there as well. Now we've had some great shouts. Polina, great shout. Ake, Alisson, yeah, I hear it. Kane, I know Tottenham is struggling, but he's been scoring goals. He's been doing his thing. Casemiro's in there for playing half the season. Fair enough.
There you go. Come in peace, see? And he starts it.
And you went
Partey.
You went for Rashford and Partey. Okay, Rashford made a few. So who wants to argue their case first for a player that they strongly believe has to be there, even though it doesn't seem to have made it?
Let me go for Ake. First, right? Because a lot of people have been talking about like the Salibas, the Butcher, Gabriels of this world, right? Nathan Ake this season has been our best defender at Manchester City. He's been consistent. He's played in different positions. Left-sided centre-back. He's played left-back. He's been thrown everywhere, right? He's improved. I think for me, he's been our best defender. No one's roasted him. And last time I was early, you said to me on this very table that Saka was the only player. Ake was the only player that Saka had, not done anything against. He's not put a foot wrong. No one here can tell me a single game in which he's played poorly. And he's in every single team. He don't get the respect he deserves, because I think, because of where he's come from Bournemouth, because he was sort of like sold at Chelsea, and he's not this big money signing. No one gives him the respect he deserves. I think he's been the best defender in the Premier League consistently, and no one gives him the respect. That's why I put him on there.
Wow, fair enough.
I think you actually make proper strong points. Yeah, I think he was always seen as this sort of maybe a utility man, like you said, coming from Bournemouth, didn't quite have the best season before this one, and he got asked to play in a lot of positions this year because he had key injuries, and he has actually been more consistent. But if Ake is going to be on it, then I'll talk about someone like Gabriel. Then he's been absolutely outstanding as well. So I feel like you won't always look to defenders on the top 5, which is probably a bit harsh, because we want to talk about the glitz and the glamour, who's scoring all the goals, who's skinning people, etc., etc. So even though it's a mad shout, actually it's not that mad. But I think there's just players who I think probably on a consistent basis are doing more at the top end of the pitch because they're attackers. So it's actually a little bit unfair. Like how you got Alisson on there as well. No one's really going to talk about keepers in the top 5 players today. But your list technically is a bit different. But in their own ways, they have been the best in the position.
Great shout about Ake as well, because I feel like the same with Ben White. I don't think he gets the respect that he deserves this season. Been outstanding. But for some unknown reason, don't get the respect of, say, a Saliba or a Martinez or
it's probably because he's been
like
put out on the right side, isn't it?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And it's like, oh, he's just there as a temporary fix. Well, it don't really matter if he's there as a temporary fix. We're judging the players on how they perform.
Yeah.
Ben White's played well. Ben White, deserves to get the flowers, man.
I think because these guys are new. Gabriel, especially Martinez and Saliba, they're new players to the league. It's their first season. And people are always pitting new players against each other. Same with Nunes and Haaland.
Yeah.
So they're always in their first season going to get more eyes on them, more judgment. Whereas Ake's been in the Premier League since forever. So no one's really pitting Ake versus Gabriel. Like, that's not a thing.
But really, actually, on this season, it should be a thing then.
Yeah.
That's basically what we're saying. That actually, that is a fair comparison. As one of the top performing centre-backs this year, defenders, because he had to play left-back. If you used to talk about who it is, he would be up there.
Just to counter all these points that you're making, I definitely think he's a fantastic player. I do think, however, though, he has Haaland at the top of the pitch who wins games for him. So if he concedes a goal, maybe Haaland will score 3 of them, and it doesn't mean that he's a bad defender. It just means that he's got that option where he can have them lapses in his game. They're still second in the Premier League. Do a first with Diaz, do a first with other defenders. So I don't think he's up there with the Virgils.
So does that go against him then?
You don't
The fact
think
that
he's-
if
in my
everyone was
opinion-
fit, he would still be your third choice?
No,
Is that-
because I disagree with that point. Because at the end of the day, I'm only judging him on what he's done, and he's not made any mistakes as a defender this season to say, oh, Haaland's bailing him out. You know what I mean? And I just think the way he's performing, you know what I mean? And let's be honest, he's getting in over Laporte, right? Laporte's one of the best defenders when he's on his game. Laporte can't get a sniff because Ake's in the position, so Ake's clearly doing something right. So that's why I've gone for him. Obviously, like you say, like normally give the glamour to the forward players, but I'm gonna change it.
Because by your thing, you're saying that Ake hasn't done. He's done more than Rashford this year because Rashford's not on your list.
Okay, so what I would say is we would be lower than second if Ake wasn't
he
in
weren't
the
there.
team.
Really?
Yeah, 100%.
Because I was about to ask
Yeah.
whether the top 5 I always think of as the difference makers. And if that's, I'm taking it from a City fan, fair enough. If you think City are lower without Ake, then that
This
tells
season
you
we would have
everything.
You
been.
think?
Yeah, 100%.
So if you had
Wow.
to play, I don't know, say Stones was more fit and you had to play him more, you don't think you'd be second or thereabout chasing
No, because
Arsenal?
Stones has played in a different position. I mean, when
Who's the one not been playing? Diaz.
It would be Laporte.
so it's
Sorry,
kind of
Laporte.
like Laporte and a left back because we have a left back.
Right, and
Well,
there's
I've got our
no
left back's
Zinchenko.
Cancelo's.
Obviously, Cancelo's
He's
left,
kept
yeah.
Cancelo out of the team.
Yeah.
I mean, he's keeping Laporte out of the
do you
team. He's
think-
keeping Cancelo out
Do
of
you
the team.
think Alisson's been the best goalkeeper in the Premier League this season then? Because he has to be on that
I do.
list.
I do.
He's been Liverpool's best player. I don't know if he's been the best goalkeeper in the season because we're 6th, 7th, so we've conceded a lot of goals, much more than we did last season. But he has been Liverpool's best player, so I do like that shout. When it comes to goalkeeper performances,
I feel like Nick Pope would have been in a shout
Without all these
the
silly
last couple of
decisions
weeks.
that- yeah, without
been a bad
the
couple of
things that
weeks,
he's been
but
doing,
they
yeah.
have a ridiculous defensive
I
record.
think the 2 best goalkeepers have been Man United and Arsenal's. Made game-changing saves. I'll tell you what, like De Gea, for instance, how many times has he kept Man United in games this season with world-class saves?
Yeah.
Massive
You
saves.
know, and
Doesn't make errors, though.
Lot of errors though. I don't.
He's had a couple of errors, but he's won us more
listen,
points than he's
Alisson's
lost.
made more than one error this. I think goalkeepers now in the modern game are always going to make mistakes. I think this put pressure on them the way they play and all that. They're all going to make mistakes, but world-class saves. And I think Alisson's been like the goalkeeper for the last few years, but because Liverpool have not been quite at it, you sort of tend to. Well, as we were saying earlier on,
He's won his points this season, though, even if you look
Yeah,
at
he's
He's got
Newcastle
the
game,
best
for example.
stats. He's got the best stats.
Yeah,
as a
Do you know what
goalkeeper.
this feels like though, guys? I'm going to be honest. This feels like a little bit of an honorary mention section at the end.
Yeah.
Like it does. Like I feel like the Premier League, I know there's fair play to Ake, fair play to the defenders, the guys who do the unsung hero job. But when we really talk about football, we want to talk about the guys who are smashing it. Like there's just something in me. I feel like it's just, honorary mention to Ake's done really well. Alisson, that's nice. But it's like we want to talk about the meat of the conversation. Sorry to any like vegan, but we wanted to. Do you know what I mean? The stars.
no, we're
bro,
putting
like-
Kane in that conversation.
well, we'll get there.
whatever-
But I just feel like that's more of an honorary mention, like Ake, Alisson.
It's not though. It's not though, and I'll tell you why. Because every single one of you teams would take Alisson. you all would take him because he's the best goalkeeper in the league. He just is. Our team is not the best team in the league, but he performs the best out of every goalkeeper. Regardless if we conceded that many goals, he is still the best one-on-one goalkeeper, I think, in the world.
The stats say Alisson should have conceded an extra 10 goals this season that he did.
Yeah. Wow.
That he actually has. And compare that to Ederson.
I'm not arguing with that, but
I'll put him in there. I'll change the conversation. Give it a little bit of different sort of. Everyone else agrees.
I think it's
I
great.
respect it, lad. I actually do. I respect it.
Thanks for that contribution. It's very nice.
It feels like honorary. Like at the end, we go. Who's an honorary mention?
But he's the best goalkeeper.
Yeah, he is.
Thomas Partey.
He's the
I'm
best
putting Thomas Partey forward.
You're putting Thomas Partey.
No one else in this room has got Thomas Partey.
It's a big position. We've all picked somebody.
It's the most important position in the football field. He's the most important player for Arsenal, and I say like that, when he weren't playing against Manchester City, all Arsenal fans were disappointed that he weren't there. We knew it was a big loss. Man City fans knew that it was a good thing. Totally dominated the FA Cup first game against Man City. Comes off and then we lose the stability of the game and all that. Top class player. I've got to say, it makes it look easy. And that's why he's not probably in a lot of these sides, because he makes the position look easy. And to make it look easy is a very, very difficult thing.
Where does everyone sit on Thomas Partey? I mean, if you don't mind me saying, you've got Casemiro in yours.
I do come in peace, but I have to have a little bit of my guys, to be honest. But Partey definitely, if you're thinking about if he's missing from the Arsenal side, you could argue, and I know he's not on my list because I've gone for different players, but I do understand that if he's missing out of that Arsenal team, I think he's probably the only player in the Arsenal team that you don't have someone is actually a like for like or can do even half the job. Don't get me wrong, Jesus was out. Eddie Nketiah proved a lot of doubters wrong. He proved he can hold down the fort. Martinelli can go up there. If Saka got injured, you can mix things around a bit at the top end of the pitch. I just think for Partey, especially because his best version of himself has now arrived, and obviously he's had a few injuries, but he's so influential to Arsenal side. So no, I do agree. I do agree with what he said.
He has missed some key games though.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Same with Casemiro. It's why I don't have either of them in there, is because Saka and Odegaard have played every single game.
Yeah. Agreed.
No suspensions, no missing Man City, no missing Man United, no issues whatsoever. They've played week in, week out on that right hand side every single week. I'm shocked that nobody's got Harry Kane. Absolutely shocked that I'm the only person. Tottenham cannot defend this season. So talk about, defenders bailing out attackers or whatever, good defensive records. They have one of the worst, if not the worst, defensive record in the top 10. And their attack also stinks. No Son. Richarlison, no goals. Kulusevski off the boil, right? Their manager has been poor. He is literally dragging that team to top 4 on his own. I'm ready to say that, on his own. If he's not there, there's nobody. That attack is non-existent without him. Out of all the players in the Premier League at the moment, even Haaland.
What are you after?
I'm just stating my case.
If he weren't there,
if you take Haaland out of there, don't get me wrong, it's an issue. But Man City have played without a striker before. In comes Alvarez. If you take out Saka, Rashford is probably Rashford
kind of Kane level.
Rashford's in there for a reason.
Can't take him out.
Rashford's dragging. But I just feel like Kane has literally.
I think with Harry Kane,
he's that Tottenham team.
If I'll be honest, it's because Haaland's about. That's why he's probably been a little bit overlooked, and that just shows you how good Haaland's been this season. Because when you look at Harry Kane, his record is unbelievable, and you have to say he hasn't got the ammunition of a Haaland, does he?
He doesn't have the creativity behind him either. This is the key. The amount of times Harry Kane drops in deep, carries the ball past 2-3 players.
To get the numbers that Kane consistently gets every year in the same bang average Spurs that we all talk about all the time, and all the jokes are on them, they're self-combusting, all the chaos that goes around it. You're right. He does just always deliver his job. It's like he leaves work every day. He says, "I've done my job." I don't know what you look. I've done what my job description says every season since he's been there. Yeah. So I do get that, but I wouldn't have him on
a challenge, except for when it feels like they need it most. I know what you mean. He's scoring loads of goals. Spurs are struggling this season, but. I don't think he started, in fairness, in the couple of the cup exits.
This is Premier League only. I was told by Robbie this is Premier League only. So I don't want to hear no Champions League, no cup. This is Premier League only.
That was the rules.
That's fair enough. That's fair. Yeah, that's fair enough.
Doesn't weaken my argument.
Yeah, but no, I agree. I think there's a great shout for Kane in there. Let's go to yours, Doyle. You had Palhinha in there, which is really interesting because it brings up questions about other players that aren't talked about as much because they're not in the traditional Big Six. Matoma, another one as well. But I didn't know that 101 tackles
By
this season,
far,
Paulinho.
by far the strongest tackler in the league. And as a Liverpool fan, you know, our midfield is dire at the moment. So I've been looking at midfield, I really have. And in January, I seen this fella, and I watched him play a few games, and I was like, this guy dictates the game. He picks up all the interceptions. He's a sweeper. He's fantastic on the ball. I don't know how a big club hasn't looked at this guy before Fulham have. And I remember at the start of the season, right, we were doing a predictions for the season, and we were talking with Robbie, and everybody said Fulham are going to go right back down because that's what they do. And this season they haven't, and it's because of gentlemen like Paulinho, mate. I want to mention Mitrovic as well. Like, let's not forget him. He's been fantastic, and he was gonna go on my list. But the influence that Paulinho's had, quite similar to Casemiro in the Man United team, has just been astounding. Fulham as sixth or fifth. That's incredible for Fulham. We haven't seen them there for years. They've been going up and down, and again, it's just because of fellas like him, mate.
They're one of the teams punching above their weight more.
Without a doubt.
It's the Brighton, Brentford, Fulham little, you know.
And he's been pivotal to that. I have to say, it's a great shout. You know, listen, we played him a couple of weeks ago, and he wasn't there, and it showed. And everybody was saying, well, we're glad that he didn't play. You know, and it's a very, very good shout. And I think that, you know, they have missed him over the last couple of games. And he's come from nowhere, hasn't he? If I'll be honest, you know, I hadn't heard of him before this, and he's certainly like on the radar now for a few bigger clubs, I would say.
Yeah, he was brilliant. Yeah, against Old Trafford, our last game, he got the Emirates FA Cup Man of the Match, which you know he was absolutely brilliant. Just you know, he knows where to be, interception wise, can get forward, got a good strike on him to the point where the big six clubs now will do that thing where people want him. Yeah,
honestly, I
think it's a great shout.
We need to go in for this fella because he's fantastic. I've been watching him all season.
He's at a great age as well.
I really think he's just phenomenal. So I think if he goes to a big team, his level will only step up. Because right now, no disrespect to Fulham, they haven't got the best players in the league, but they're still performing really well. And if he gets in another team, mate.
The drop off is mad. You said it about Arsenal when you played. Obviously, Paulinho wasn't playing, and I watched Fulham this season with and without, and they're just like a completely different season. And I know you can sort of say, oh well, without Casemiro, United, but I'm talking drop off. With the best respect in the world, they look like a championship side when Paulinho's not in that side. The way he controls the game, dictates the play. I mean, if a big club don't come in for him in the summer and snap him up, then I don't know what the scouts are doing, man.
Him, Casemiro, Partey, and Bruno Guimaraes. For me, those four.
I was gonna.
Bruno Guimaraes not got a mention on it.
That's another honorary mention. We're talking about honorary mentions.
Those are honorary mentions.
To do the Bruno Guimaraes prop because that guy is unreal.
The only problem with it is he does get injured, and I was going to put him in my top 5 because again,
your shout's better.
Influence for the game. Wow, what beautiful to watch. He's a Brazilian. He plays like a Brazilian, but he's also a pit bull as well. But he gets injured too much, whereas Paulinho seems to be consistently on that pitch most of the game, most of the season. And his stats speak for themselves, mate. 101 tackles. The closest one to him is 84. That's a lot. That's a big gap,
running
lads.
after his first touch.
He is. He's the Haaland of centre defensive mid, in my opinion. You get what I mean? His stats are just so phenomenal. He is performing more better than every other centre defensive midfielder.
He won the Portuguese league before he went to Fulham, and he was an international.
So he's got pedigree.
He already had pedigree. It was just people were sleeping.
Think about the players he's played, and we're talking about Casemiro, Fabinho, Partey. Yeah, these are fantastic footballers.
Fabinho,
not this season. Okay, not this season, without a doubt.
2 seasons.
But, he was all right last season. We come in peace, gentlemen.
Fabinho's a bit.
We come in peace.
No, we don't.
But yeah, to mention him above all of them names means he's doing something right. So I hope Liverpool scouts are looking at him and going, yes, yeah, whatever you want for him.
Here's one for you. Would you rather? I know the Jude Bellingham thing and that. Would you rather have the Jude Bellingham under the straight into Anfield, or would you rather have Paulinho?
Jude Bellingham, lads. Let's be real. He's phenomenal. He's a talent. He's going to be going forever, lads.
Respect the honesty.
Second, no, Paulinho. I genuinely, my ideal situation would be Bellingham than Paulinho. That would be marvellous.
Or Mason Mount.
Do you know what? Mason Mount is a good footballer, but not for me, bro. Okay? Don't want him in my team, lad. You're a good footballer and that, and you work hard and you're endearing, all of that good stuff.
That's characteristics right there. That's the ticks.
But he can't score, lad, to save his life. I watched 2 Chelsea finals, where he had big moments in them against Liverpool, and he flapped every single one of them.
Because he wants to join you.
What? Sorry, no Mason Mount for me, buddy.
So everyone's list, right, it's got Haaland, Saka, Odegaard. That I think
everyone's
makes the combined 3, and now it's going to go to Rashford. Looks like it's going to get the 4th spot. We haven't spoken about him yet on the basis that he's made 4 of the 5. So let's talk about Rashford. Let's talk about Marcus, because what a turnaround from last season.
It's unbelievable, man.
took one PSG bid and suddenly...
there you go.
Yeah.
I actually wasn't one of the fans, Man United fans, who were saying sell him, get rid, he's done, he's toast. What I did say was, we were coming from our worst ever Premier League season. It was just, you guys all saw it, it's disgusting what happened last year, historically our worst ever. And I was very much done with a lot of the players in terms of, if the new manager comes in and has his ideas, I'm backing that. So I was like, I think the saving grace for me is that there's a new manager coming in and I think that manager can get something out of Rashford. And that's exactly how it's turned out. Straight from pre-season, you could see that Erik ten Hag at the top of his list was to go, this kid's got potential. I know it's in there. And with my style of play, my know-how, my guile, I'm going to get it out of him. And then the other side of it, which is even more so, is actually, I know the celebration, he keeps doing this, but the mentality of him, because I literally saw Rashford walking outside of Old Trafford last season, arguing with fans. He was walking out, someone heckled him, he was going to come back and give it. It was really, really toxic. And actually, what Rashford could have done with last season is what happened to Jadon Sancho this season. Just time out. Just literally time out. He was a shell of himself, didn't want the ball. And you look at the rate he's scoring at now. I know everyone's talking about what he's done after the World Cup because it's been so ridiculous. But he has been good all season. Like, even before the World Cup, that's the whole reason he even got into the World Cup team, because he'd actually picked back up. If it was the same Rashford from last year, he wouldn't even have got on a plane to go to the World Cup. And I think we forget that. But he's single-handedly, you spoke about Kane not being there, what would happen to Man United. We can't expect to fix everything in one season. We're a work in progress and we've done really well up until this point. But we are heavily reliant on Rashford. Whether he plays well in the 90 minutes and he has to come up with a bit of magic, whether he's fantastic from minute 1 to minute 95, he's been brilliant. And I'm not surprised to see him. I'm surprised he's not on all 5 lists. I'm happy he's got 4 out of 5, but I would have thought 6. So.
That's why I had him slightly ahead of Odegaard, just slightly. It's because I feel like Rashford, you take him out of that United team and they're toast, especially in that attack. Like, Anthony's been very hit and miss, more times miss. Sancho's only just come back, but it's still not.
Weghorst we got up front.
Weghorst up top. Do you know what I mean? Like, Garnacho, Young needs to be coming off the bench more often than starting. If you take him out of the team, it's catastrophic for their attack. Then they don't look like they can score goals. So, but Odegaard's been brilliant, to be honest. He has.
I can't have him over Odegaard for me. I mean, Odegaard's pushing Arsenal with a few extra players in that team towards a Premier League title, man. Like, and no one's seen this coming. I mean, maybe people didn't think United would do as well as they have done this season. But I think there would have been people at the start of the season who could have maybe predicted, maybe they'll get to a Carabao Cup final, maybe they'd be 3rd or 4th. I hear like some people talk about United massively overachieving this season. I think they might be slightly overachieving. I don't think it's massively. I think people must have been playing down Man United really low at the start of the season. Arsenal are massively overachieving. And you've got Odegaard with the likes of Saka and Partey, who are sort of the key players in that team. And we're 10 games away, and they could potentially win the Premier League. This is why I got to have Odegaard over Rashford, man. For me, I just think what he's doing for Arsenal. I get what you're saying. Take Rashford out of the team. They might be a bit naff. Look at what Odegaard is doing, man. This team has gone from nowhere. What did you finish last year? 5th or something? To potentially a Premier League title. I've got to have Odegaard over Rashford for that.
Fair enough.
I guess if you're looking at Premier League.
I think with Rashford, the one thing I look at with Rashford is, and maybe it's like where you look at Kane and Rashford, it's just that Kane's been doing it year in, year out. The transformation of Rashford this season has been unbelievable. And I think that's highlighted because he's probably at Man United as well. And there is that thing, I know it's that thing, like if he wasn't there, where would Man United be? And he is keeping Man United where they are, like Kane is with Tottenham. But I think because Rashford was, dead and buried last season, wasn't he? I think he was, virtually out the door.
He was.
And to do what he's done, marvellous, really. I have to say that from him, and he's doing it at Man United where there is pressure. I don't care what anybody says, if Man United are doing well, there's pressure. If they're not doing well, there's even more pressure. And he's really turned it around, so. And listen, look, everybody's got Odegaard in there. In their thing, that tells you it's unanimous. So, and Rashford has got more than
it looks like the agreed 4 so far. Haaland, everyone's got at the top. Saka, everyone seems to have as number 2. Yep. Then Odegaard's him because he's made all 5, so he's in there at 3. Rashford's made 4 of the 5, so he gets the 4th spot. So at 5th spot, we've had great arguments for plenty of players. The last one we haven't really touched on properly is Casemiro, and he has been transformative for Man United. Why has he made your top 5?
Again, it does go through to. Everyone seems to, obviously these lists are personal, so it depends what type of criteria you've gone. Those two have gone with more kind of unsung heroes. Some people have gone for people at the top of the league. I've kind of, for 50% of my list anyway, there or thereabouts, I've kind of gone for like the transformation of the team, you know, and when that player's not there. And I'm telling you, again, speaking of the personal side of it, McTominay, Fred in midfield.
Sorry, we shouldn't laugh.
Yeah, but it is laughable, you know, for how long Manchester United have had that as a base. And Christian Eriksen and Casemiro came in, completely transformed the whole midfield. And I speak about Rashford being a massive reason as why Manchester United is so good. Casemiro is exactly the same. Huge price tag. People saying he's coming from, you know, La Liga, he's won everything, no motivation, he's only coming for money, don't care, what's he going to do? I even said, going to be interesting to see how he works in this team. I rate him as a player, but when you got Modric and Kroos ahead of you, and some younger guys in there, you know, Valverde, etc., his job's a lot different than coming to this Man United team. And he's doing everything. He's scoring goals, he's creating, he's breaking up play, he's marshalling people, he's being a leader, and he's just so influential. And the impact he's had on Man United is well.
Can I ask you something? Let me phrase it in a way that doesn't get Man United fans angry at me.
Go on.
Why isn't it Alessandro Martinez over Casemiro? Because he's been also transformative, also brilliant. And
absolutely.
The one thing, and you touched on it, Matisse, he's had 8 games out through suspension.
Yeah.
1 for too many yellows, and then 2 red cards. And listen, they can argue themselves in the comments about whether they were the correct decisions or not. But okay, fine. Yeah. But listen, I think everyone would agree that there's grounds for potential reds there. And then you look at it and go, that's a quarter of the season miss.
I didn't want to be completely biased. I wanted them both on there. And actually, when I was doing my notes before, I had Casemiro / Martinez. I was like, because again, Man United fans watching this, not that there'll be a lot on AFTV, but this easily could have been Martinez. He's been absolutely phenomenal. I know we brought up the games where he's been toasted, you know, a couple of times. Yeah, absolutely. But Man United as a team, the team had them 3 blips where we got smashed at City, smashed at Liverpool, smashed at Brentford. That was a team thing. It wasn't just one guy who played poorly. They were complete capitulations. So I think that's a bit difficult to nail.
I had Casemiro.
And Lee.
I did have
Lee,
Casemiro.
explain to the people what happened before we started recording.
I did put him in there. And the reason that I put him in there. No, the reason
James got in his head.
Peer pressure him, you know. That is poor by you.
No.
That's supposed to be unbiased.
I agree with that. But the reason I put him in at first, and the reason that I think that he's got to be in the discussion, I think Man United were on borderline laughing joke until he signed. I thought they was in dead trouble. Dead trouble. They lost to Brentford, got smashed and all that. He come in and he transformed Manchester United season
instantly as well.
You know, and he's gone off the rails. That's why in the end I didn't. But for that beginning of the season, if it wasn't for him, Manchester United wouldn't be where they are now. He actually steadied the ship. They were, you know, people were laughing. It's going to be a great season to banter Manchester United. He stopped that, and what's gone on in the last few weeks, I don't know. I think it all started at Crystal Palace with that stupid tackle there more than that
was the Southampton one. You got City tackle there. They've got in the full game, and then before that he grabbed Will Hughes and then got.
And it's just the rails from that moment. I was just starting to slip off a little bit, but up until then, he was definitely in the occasion.
Do you know why Casemiro said Martinez? Because Casemiro brings more than just performances. He's brought experience. He was not coasting at Real Madrid. You don't win that many Champions Leagues and play with them midfielders unless you're a fantastic footballer, and he's got a winning mentality, and that's why he played for Real Madrid. So he's brought that winning mentality along with performances and a desire. That's why he gets red cards, because he wants to win. He doesn't want to lose, and I think that's why I was going to put him there. For me, he's the second best centre defensive mid behind Paulina. I hate to say it, he is. The only thing that let him down was the red cards for me. That was it. But he is a phenomenal footballer. And
there were red cards. Look, I'm not going to do the whole sob story thing. We've all spoken about the officiating. There were red cards that on a different day might not have been red cards, but I mean,
10 years ago,
he's missed the games, and we're still doing all right.
The choky one was
Lewis, Casemiro.
Oh, Casemiro, yeah, mega. I said at the time, mega signing. Some question marks over the fee. You know, what is he, 30, 32?
Yeah, it's like 70 million.
Big money. But you know, at the end of the day, sometimes people look at the fees a bit too much. What is the player? You getting a good player or not?
Exactly.
You know, I mean, how many players can we look at, you know, who were like maybe 22, 23 and they spent 70 million? Oh, he's going to be mint. Soon as the guy turns 30 years old, oh, what's this price?
Write him off, yeah.
It's like, come on, man, this guy's a top player. Like you said, he's won 3 Champions Leagues. And the Casemiro versus Martinez, for me, I mean, if I have to pick one in the team, I'm going Casemiro.
Yep.
You know, if I'm United, I can probably deal, maybe put Luke Shaw in the back or bring someone else in. You lose Casemiro and you become sort of like a mediocre
in
side.
midfield, we become instantly average
Instantly,
again.
yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ericsson does his thing on the ball. He
Yeah.
elevates our level, but we've already seen it. You know, with Ericsson out and Casemiro, we've back to McTominay, Fred, and now Sabitzer's got to find his way through things. So
Yeah.
The only last thing I'd say on this is next season there'll be more pressure on Man United because of what they've done.
Expected to, yeah, for sure.
Where can he be next year? Because teams will start playing differently, I think, against you next season because they'll respect you more. I think this season people still think they can beat you and go at you a little bit. Next season, what's he going to be like? I think that'll be really interesting to see. And but I think he's a top player, one of the best in the world, obviously.
Yeah. Okay. A quick thought on Casemiro.
Top player, top player. Type of player I needed in my team, to be honest. Desperately. You know, you look at this position in the Premier League and it's vital now. Look at Rodri, look at Partey, Paulinho, Casemiro. This is like the foundation for everything. Foundation for, you know, your defence. Look at Liverpool, you know, Fabinho, look at the fall off and look what's happened to their centre-backs. You need to have
scoring
this,
goals as well.
Yeah,
scored in the cup
goals.
final, scored away at Chelsea,
Yeah.
scored big goals.
You need this 6 to be a top player, otherwise you're not going anywhere as a team, honestly. Huge.
Very true. Okay, so the 4 are agreed. What? Saka?
No, same. We didn't even talk about how great he's been, but
because,
don't need to.
Because what do we need to say? He's amazing. You're right. We didn't talk enough about Saka, but he's made we haven't even said enough about Haaland.
I think them two are just unanimous.
Everybody knows why. Everybody knows that.
The other positions 3, 4 and 5 are more for debate, but we have come to a consensus on the first 4. It's Haaland, it's Saka, it's then Odegaard, followed by Rashford, and that 5th place, what we're going to do, we're going to put a comment with each player's name in the YouTube comment section, like the comment that you agree with the most. So we're going to have Ake, Alisson, Palhinha, Kane, Casemiro, and Partey.
I got a feeling that Partey might
on
win it.
AFTV.
I wonder.
No, I trust the audience to be completely fair and unbiased, and you know that's why.
Partey will win it.
Big thank you to everyone. Let them know where they can find you, Matisse.
MAH on YouTube, nice and simple, 3 letters, and it's pleasure, absolute pleasure being on.
Yo, City Extra, all the socials, man. So yeah, thank you.
Freestyle DM, you'll find me doing loads of footy tricks and all that, catching her on my back and my head and all that.
Go on, Lee.
AFTV, Lee Judges TV.
Flex, United View, all the socials.
Amazing. Big thanks to all of you. They did come in peace.
Yeah, that was good.
Try to poke a bit.
Should do this more often.
Fair play. Well, maybe we will. If you like the video, hit the like button, then we'll get Flex back for more of it. Big thanks to everyone who's joined us. We'll see you very soon.
Shop for AFTV merch at shop.aftv.co.uk. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat and Twitch. We've got content for every platform, so check it out.